This is the story of the anarchist organist, except he isn't actually an organist. It's a story about taking a leap of faith into trying something new and not being put off by failure. It's a story about pulling out all the stops to make something beautiful with no idea where or how to start or why he's even doing it. It's about utter embarrassment becoming a glorious win. It's about being supported by both friends and strangers to follow pipe dreams and just say, fuck it, how bad can it be?
This all started a year ago. I went to an English Heritage Open Day at a church with my mate Dan Thompson, and on the way there I said I wonder if I can have a go on the organ, and we was kind of joking, half joking, about me playing on the organ, recording it, sampling it on my next album. So when we got there, we met a really lovely lady called Sue, and she was the church warden. She was having a go on the organ, and I was like, wow, organs are really cool. I am going to see if I can sort of have a go on it. And she said, she was like, oh, I'm not very good, but we've got a professional organist called Ben. He's going to come, he'll be here in a minute, and he's going to do like a little talk about the organ and a demonstration, which he did do. He was really lovely, and it was just him playing it was just absolutely incredible. And then he said, does anyone want to have a go? And no one did. So I was like, let me at it. So I played it for about a minute, and I did record it. Dan said that as soon as I started playing, loads of people that were had kind of gradually moved to the other end of the church after Ben did his demo and stuff, all was turning around like, oh, someone's playing the organ. And then Sue came running over and was like, oh my God, was that you? And I was like, yeah, I was just a little go at it. And when I got home, I was like really hyped up about it. So I was like, I need to find out where I can check out some more organs, because that was just ridiculously brilliant. So I found a week later there was going to be another church that was doing an organathon, and they advertised it as, we'll play the organ from 10 AM until 10 PM, email us if you want to play it. So I emailed them and said, can I play the organ at your organ event, please? And they emailed me back, and they was really excited, and they offered me a parking space, and they sent me all the piston settings and the organ specification and stuff in just this big document, and I tried skimming through it, but it made no sense to me at all. So my wife said a couple of days before, are you going to tell them? And I said, no, because I never said I can play the organ. I said, can I play the organ at your organathon? If I now turn around to them and say, oh, I can't really play the organ, then they will probably say, well, then you can't play the organ at our organathon. So I was just like, I improvise everything. I was fine last week. I'll just wing it. It will be great. I'll record it on my phone, and then I can sample it, and I'll do like a little EP. But I got there, and they'd set up this big screen projection thing. It was the first thing that I saw right at the front of the church, with 2 cameras on whoever was playing the organ. And then I was like, oh, that's makes me feel a little bit nervous. And then I saw my name was on a poster with loads of other organists, and underneath a few names it said a tribute to the Queen, because it was the Queen had recently died, and it said that under my name. So I was like, am I doing a tribute to the Queen? And suddenly I felt quite pressured about it, And I think they was expecting like a really old man, because when I got there and introduced myself, the guy like sort of looked me up and down, and he was like, "Oh, where do you usually play the organ?" And I said, "Oh, last week I was playing like that one," told him where, and then he was like, "Oh, you got any sheet music with you?" And I was like, "No," and he was like, "It's all in my head." And he said, "Oh yeah, David's is all in his head as well, obviously." And I was like, "Yeah, oh yeah." Didn't know who David was. So when it was my turn to play, according to the poster, I had a 15-minute slot, and I was recording it on my phone, and I'm not even gonna lie, it was terrible. It was really awful. And the person that was playing before me, every time she like stopped playing, everyone was like, and then every time I paused, like, no one clapped at all. It was really awkward. And then after the 8 minutes, someone came over and basically said, "So we're going to have to kick you off." And then someone else was like, "Yeah, we've got something important to do." So I was like, "Okay." And then this dog appeared. And then David was there, and I knew it was David because he was blind, and it was his dog, and he's really good at playing the organ. So he took over from me, and I left. And I'd had like a week of feeling really excited about organs, and I had all these great dreams of playing them Royal Albert Hall. I can't play the organ, so that's not going to happen. And I was quite miserable about it, really. I have previously tried to play in bands and stuff, but I rely on, for example, electric tuners, and then I find guitarists will come in and tune by ear and then tell me my bass is out of tune, and then insist on tuning it by their ear, and I struggle to play the same song twice, and the guitarist is very quick to find that out. The only time it's really worked with playing with other people is like when I've teamed up with a drummer and I've had like bass and distortion and a pedal board and stuff, and just played some really noisy, like punky stuff, and we've had like certain riffs and vocal parts that will kind of anchor us together, and then we just kind of call and response and just jam and kind of go off on one and sort of follow each other, and it's very improvised and stuff, and that seems to work for me. But it's just working with guitarists and stuff that don't really. The first time I played with other people, I think I was in like year 3 or something at school, and I joined Recorder Club, and everyone had those like brown and cream recorders, and I had a bright, insanely pink one, and I just could not play it at all. It was horrendous.
After a few weeks, Mrs. Colgate, the music teacher, decided he wouldn't be able to continue attending the club. It's unknown if she put it down to creative differences, or if she just accepted that his style of playing was too punk to fit in with the mainstream kids. He decided to try using guitar pedals with an electric ukulele and a tiny piano, and stumbled into a natural talent for making ambient drones, which he could craft into big slow-build soundscapes. He could finally stop worrying about chords and notes completely, and started thinking about shape and role in landscapes, changes in intensity of cloud formations, weather patterns and ocean waves, from delicate little twinkly riffs to epic stormy crescendos. He realised that if he approached it like abstract mark making in a sketchbook, shoot-from-the-hip photography, or a stream of consciousness writing, all hobbies that he enjoys, then it didn't matter what he did. He wouldn't have to remember how he did it or music theory, and could build layer upon layer of soundscapes and build sounds and sample spoken word over the top. He found that he could build up a whole catalogue of soundscapes in one afternoon, and then mix and match them into multiple layers until they were complete tracks, and put collections of these together to form an album. In 2019, he released 4 of these collections online under the name The End of Clouds, followed by a 4-track EP on CD tying the 4 albums together. He had a live CD launch, but of course he couldn't recreate what was on the CD because it was all improvised, and a complete lack of actual musical theory knowledge meant he couldn't listen back and work it out. So he came up with a live set that was heavily improvised and told the audience, "This isn't actually on the CD, but you get the idea. If you like this, then you'll probably like the CD." He has also created the sound installation for Dan Thompson's Your England exhibition, and the soundtrack to 2 short stories released online in the style of radio plays.
A few months after the organathon, I was still thinking about church organs, and I couldn't shake this idea that the next creative project I do should be a full album primarily using a church organ. And I was like, I don't know how I can do it. I don't know where I can do it. I kind of know what I want to do, but I need to have the opportunity to do it, and I don't really know where to start. And the only thing that I could kind of think to do was write a letter to sue the church warden and basically explain the situation, tell her what happened at the organathon, and just say, look, this is what I want to do, and I have got this gut feeling that I can make something really good. Can you help me? And she wrote back and said, it's fine, I get it. I'm happy to help you with it. She said she wouldn't go so far as to get a tattoo. I haven't mentioned my tattoo. So during the time that I was getting like really obsessed with organs, and all my mates were encouraging me every time they went like on holiday or something and they did the tourist thing and there was a cathedral and organs, they'd be sending me photos, and I was being sent articles and documentaries and stuff anytime one of my mates stumbled upon them, and it was like organs were everywhere. And I ended up getting a tattoo of an organ pipe with some like Art Deco sound kind of symbolisation down my leg.
Sue spoke to the vicar, and the vicar agreed to let him go to the church to record himself playing the organ and film the process for this documentary. He had just 4 Wednesday evenings to complete the recording. Here is how it went.
That is on here. That's 215. That's a loud one. I don't feel like this is going to go very well. Although that's quite nice. Really quiet though. There doesn't seem to be any logic in doing because I'll pull some out and then it makes a noise here, and then I'll pull another one out and it doesn't make a noise there, and then some of them I can't make it make a noise anywhere. If I just kind of go, well, I've got some bits pulled out and it's making a noise, and that's quite nice. So just do that. And then hopefully at the end of it there's an album somehow. And then it just gets loud, and then nothing happens up there. It doesn't make any sense. Unless it, oh hello. Oh, don't like that one. Not using that. try some harmonic flute. Maybe that was another one of these, and then that was something else on it, but I don't think it works like that. Feels a bit jumbled. Maybe I should give up. It's been 20 minutes. And now that one up there works, and that one wasn't working earlier. It's a bit like a fishing boat, isn't it? Yeah, I still don't know what I'm doing. There is some kind of method in this madness, I'm just too mad to understand it. Really, it's gone full circle of insanity. I think I need to take a break. I'm having creative differences with this organ. Excuse me. Well, I've turned it off. Shall we sit in the pews and I'll talk about how horrendously it's going? That's really fucking creepy. I did not... I didn't mean, when I said creative differences, that Jesus had to get involved. It's not going very well. Yes, it's not going very well. I had two options. Option one was my preferred choice, which is go down the route of the end of clouds, but it has this very specific sound with that, and I just can't get that organ to make those sounds. And I was like, option two is just make something really noisy and experimental, and don't do it as the end of clouds, do it as something different, like the anarchist organist. But that's just horrific as well. It doesn't, like, nothing sounds good. I managed to do like a little thing, and I was like, yeah, that could work. Fire a bit of ambient ukulele on the top of that, and it'll probably be alright, but I'm not going to get a whole album out of this. I honestly don't know what to do. But I've still got the rest of this evening, and then 3 more weeks. But if it keeps going like this, I think I'm going to lose interest by like halfway through next week's session. I've been building up to this for like a year, and it's all like, it's just not, I don't know, not really working. Probably going to have another go on the organ. That nice little bit that I did, that I was like, oh, if I get a ukulele on that. Didn't even record it. Didn't press the chords. Full of little bits and pieces that I can edit and do stuff with, which is good.
feel like it's going a little bit like last week. And I was convinced it was going to go better this week. Turn it off, we'll see if it does that Jesus thing again.
When using an organ, the air will stay in the pipes and make noise as the air is released, even after it's been turned off. There's really nothing paranormal about it.
I don't know, I've just got to get back to it and keep recording stuff and hope that it's all, when I get it home, it's all varied enough that I can separate it into a minimum of 7 tracks. I've got 12 track titles ready, but I think I've cut it down to 7 because I'm not going to get a full album's worth. It'll be like a 7-track EP at this stage, or it might just be one single, which is probably not going to be a hit single, but it will exist and I will have accomplished something. So yeah, I don't really have time for chatting actually. I should probably get on with recording. The last session that we recorded, I did some editing and I kind of got to the point where I was like, there's a couple, definitely 1, potentially 3 things that I can use, which are fine in terms of the plan being get access to an organ, record the organ, edit the organ sounds and have a finished thing. It ticks all the boxes for it, but I just wasn't really feeling it, and I was a bit like, it's okay, it's fine, it ticks the boxes of having done it, but I'm not in love with it. So then I was like, kind of made the difficult decision to be like, do I throw in the towel, do I keep going, do I stick with what I've got and try and force it into that kind of thing, so that's what it sounds like, or do I scrap it all and start again, bearing in mind we are now exactly halfway through my recording time. So I decided I was going to scrap it, and I went to bed that night and I was like, I've got 4 more days until I record again and I've got absolutely fuck all to work with at this point. So woke up the next morning and had a bit of a light bulb moment, went back to like the original raw organ recordings that I had and started putting it all together, and something happened and it all just came together, and I was like, this is it, this is the album that I wanted to make. So I think I started that at 10 AM and I put the laptop away at 10 PM and I'd worked solidly for like 12 hours, and now I would say the album is half done. which is insane. Are you filming? Today is the last recording session. Album is basically done. I'm just doing some little finishing touches and tweaks with it, and recording some stuff tonight where I've just kind of listened to it over the past week and been like, yeah, I could put a little bit of this on there and do that there and stuff, but it's the bulk of it, it's basically finished. Done something really kind of gentle and beautiful, and I think I've really done the organ justice in terms of it being something that, like, to be able to listen to it and hear it in a completely new way. I think that's what I'm most excited about, and that's what I'm most proud of, the fact that I've managed to do it justice, but also just kind of put a whole different sort of spotlight on it. And it's I'm really pleased with it. I think it's fucking amazing, to be honest. I love the Underclouds back catalogue, but I think this has set like a new peak for what I can achieve when I'm like, there's a particular album that I want to make, I know what it's going to be like, I know what I want to achieve from it, and to just kind of experiment and play and just kind of figure stuff out, and then end up with a finished thing. And I think a lot of people didn't really know how this was going to end and thought that maybe the whole thing was just going to be some big joke, but actually I've made a really serious album, which is good. So, yeah. It's done.
So this is it. This is the finished album. It's called The Martyr. There are 10 tracks in total, and every single sound on the album has come directly from the organ that I was using when I was recording. There's nothing's been added. There's no ambient ukulele on there. There's no electronic synths or anything at all. It's literally just the organ. And just so you know what it sounds like, here is track 1. It's called Epiphany Mornings.